Hello everybody, welcome to this Mtr20 video wrap up. Bit of a summary of our retreat last week. I was going to be doing this up at the farmhouse, but I'm doing it here in my living room for a very good reason. That is, there's no way I can get up to the farmhouse in a vehicle with all the stuff right now. It's too much of a mess. So we're still, as some of you know, those of you who have followed the retreat and in fact are watching this video because you're interested in the MTR ministry, you know the issues that we had. So I have a cheat sheet here with a summary of things to cover so I don't forget, but also you can be praying that the logging will get done, the road will be finished before our next activity, which is an intensive institute in January. So anyway, this is, what is it today? It's the 16th, and we are in the week after the retreat. So I have a number of things to cover. For those of you who followed, some of this will be repeat, but it's a like I named the video. It's a wrap up. Our weather was pretty good. We had snow the week before, which was unusual, but it was gone, and we had a bit of rain. It was coldish some days, but overall mild and good. Our retreat this year had a number of staff. In fact, we had more staff than teens, as many of you know. Well, there was of course, the Alvarez, our co-workers, although that was very sick. She showed up one day. She organized a lot of things, but couldn't be here to do much. And Juan was in a few days and he got sick as well, and so that we didn't see too much of them, although Juan was able to give a lesson. And then Deborah was in several days, one of the twins, and she's always a huge help in the kitchen and wherever is needed. Then Danny and Jordan, of course, Danny was in and out quite a bit, making sure everything runs that's supposed to run. Although we had a lot of issues this year with water heaters. And so we're looking into that. We're going to get the plumber back in to figure out, man, this thing's making a lot of noise, to figure out what is the deal, because we have a new installation anyway. So it's another prayer request that we'll be able to figure out what is the deal. Could have to do with the cold. The water heaters are out in a shed outside, but we don't know. Jordan, although she can hardly come to the farmhouse because of her allergies, she did a bunch of cooking in the background, and Danny would bring it up and so forth. Then the Klutz, of course, came again, as they have for now a good number of years, from Atlanta, and Chuck and Elizabeth are always a huge blessing. They know their way around perfectly well. And Elizabeth helps with the music, especially the piano playing, at the farmhouse, at church for the concert and so forth. So they're good friends, and we're always delighted to have them. The Laymans, of course, were our guests, John and Susie. Whereas we had known them before, but it had just been hi and bye at church and so forth there at Hampton Park. But now we were with them for close to 2 weeks and had so much fun together. It was such a blessing to serve the Lord together with them. And we just said goodbye to them Sunday night. This is Tuesday. And they went on. They're going to be for a few days out in the Catalunya area in the mountains, doing a bit of R&R on the slopes, if you can do that. But they've had a pretty intense few weeks. They came straight from Romania when they came here. So thank you, John and Susie. Thank you as well, of course, Chuck and Elizabeth, for your blessing, and all of our co-workers here. And then with the Klutz, they usually try and bring a couple from Berean. This year they brought Blake and Charlotte Felber, who are on staff at the church of Berean. That's our sending church. So they were a huge blessing. They had come with the mission team back in July, so we knew them. And just a wonderful, fun fellowship day after day with them. And they stayed at the farmhouse, were with the teens, and interacted with them all the time. Well, they were there 24/7, so except for the venture to church and to the capital city. They were at the farmhouse the entire time. And then this is obviously an insert that I'm putting back into the proper place because I didn't manage my cheat sheet properly. So I wanted to thank the Willises, David and Jennifer, for their huge investment every year, but this year as well, in transportation, and of course meals as well, and Jennifer directing the choir, getting the special music together, and all the rehearsals that involves. So thank you, David and Jennifer. And then of course my wife is everywhere, always, and yeah, we wouldn't do it without her. Couldn't do it. Someone took, I think it was John, took a picture of us at some point there at the farmhouse. So I'll throw that up and thank my wife for her always faithful help. And therefore, everyone who helped, this is a big thank you from me, but also from the MTR parents who, well, we just wouldn't have the retreat if it was just me. Obviously, it would not happen. So thank you all of you for your investment in the MK's lives. Okay. Then we had a medium, although she was in among the teens. Medium is actually older. She came to our teen retreat 8-9 years ago. Now she's older. She's actually engaged, but she came along with two of her sisters. And the Platilleros, whoever of the Platilleros comes, are always a blessing, and the older ones have come back on several occasions to help with the retreats. And I've always told the teens that there's an age where you have to be in order to come, which is 13. But there's really no limit on the top side. You can always come back if you're over 19. You can always come back as staff. So she was a big help. So our teens, we had Olivia from Georgia. Then she had come last year with her two sisters, and we had Faith and Nolan Dodson. They came first time from Germany. Barely made it. We just found out. They just found out about it. We just found out about them a week or two ahead before the retreat. Then 3 came from the Platilleros, medium, and two sisters, Joanna and Susanna. And then Lily came again, Lily Reitzel. And then we had, I don't have it on here, but we had a number of greetings from former guest speakers and former MKs, that are off into college or even in some cases married and beyond. And so we got to see some funny, interesting videos from a good number of veterans, I guess we could call them. The theme that John had was basically a theme of encouragement, and he brought a booklet that he gave to each of the teens for them to take notes and so forth. But they also, and this is later on in my notes, the gift book we gave them this year is John's book called Encouragement, Refreshing Others with a Word Fitly Spoken. So he taught much of what's in this little booklet. It's a very good booklet. I highly recommend it. I'm working my way through it myself, but I've heard a lot of it in different pieces and different ways, and I'm just going through it again to get all of the chapters in order. But if you want to either get a book or chat with John, you can go to wordsfitlyspoken.info. So that'll pull up a web page, and you can get a copy of the nice little hardback. Great topic, and he did a good job with it. So there's a bit of a promo for John's book. Also, he just got on YouTube. He's officially a YouTuber. Sunday night, we uploaded his first video, and that was a lot of fun. So we had donors, and I wanted to mention them because these are people who go the extra mile to help the teens and the missionary families, and just want to thank them for their contributions. Sometimes very generous, others generous, but maybe there's different quantities that different people can give. But when it all comes in, then we divide it. We cover the expenses of the retreat and then divide whatever we can among the families, depending on how much they've spent for transportation. So I want to thank the Klutz, the Slacks, Miss Tripp, and the Halls and Beatons for their gifts. I have received notes of thanks from parents saying, please thank those who gave to help us and to be a blessing to the teens. So you need to know that they are very grateful for your gifts, and of course so are we. We had the unusual situation this year where we had more staff than teens, so that affects the way we can cover the expenses. So I'll talk about that a little bit more. The sessions we had, oh my, I think there were 12 Bible teaching sessions. Most of them were by John on the topic of encouragement. He went through a lot of things in that book. But then Tim Darling, who, I didn't mention him before, did I? I didn't. He was here for a couple of days. He was going to stay more, but had to go back to cover for the ministry back there. So sorry, Tim, for forgetting you earlier with the staff. But Tim gave a good session. So did Blake, Juan, my coworker, and of course Chuck always does. And then Susie, on the divided session, John and Susie took the guys and girls. So those were the sessions. Those, by the way, you can go to the website. I have it on there if you can see it, the ayerdi.org. From there you can go straight to the Mtr20 page. And I have all of the links up there now for all of the sessions if you're interested in them. And also every day I would put out the video summary of the day with different video clips. And so all of those are there too. So if you're interested, go there. You'll be able to find it easy. Okay, a couple of stats that I thought you might be interested in. This, of course, was our 20th year, as the logo says. Everything's backwards because I point at the logo over there and my finger on the camera is pointing the opposite direction. That's a little weird. But anyway, so just by way of anecdote or whatever they call this, in our Mtr8, this is 20, our number 8 was in, I don't have the year, phooey. Anyway, whenever it was probably around 2010 or 2009, was the first retreat that we did over the weekend where we went from 4 days to 6, basically. That was a pretty big jump. Interesting story. I may mention it someday down the road, but we went to the 6 days over the weekend, and that has been what we've done for the last, 12? Yeah. And then the total number, some of you may be curious about how many teens have come. Well, the total attendance for the 20 MTRs, the total attendance of teens has been 416. Now, the total number of unique teens is 168. So 168 different MKs have come through the Missionary Teen Retreat, which isn't anything compared to a lot of American ministries, but it's more than we've ever had, or more than we had before. So, of course, a lot of them repeat. Several of them, Miriam, I think this one was like her 7th or 6th, as a helper and also coming. So those are those stats. The most we ever had was in MTR 15, which was in 2018. And we had 31 Ks. 31 MKs. It was interesting because 5 of them, I believe, came and we didn't know they were coming. They hadn't registered. Won't say anything more about that. We had a blast, but that was a full one. 31. And this time we had only 6, so you can see there the most and the least. I think we'll have more next year because I can see the MKs and hear about the MKs that are reaching the age of 12 and 13. There's a bit of a wave of them, so I think we'll be getting some more. But the retreat went beautifully well, and the teaching was excellent. The fellowship was wonderful. The kids had a ball, and they get to do some things. Excuse me. When we have fewer teens, we get to do things that we can't do when we have a lot of teens, just for logistical reasons. So they got some benefits that others don't get. I thought I would go through the list of guest speakers. I'm not going to dwell on any of them. I'm just going to give their names, not even titles because I may miss one. But these are the guests who have been our main guest speaker. And most of them have come with their spouses, with their wives. But sometimes they can't. So, number one, first, Paul Witt. Then Travis Smith. Some are pastors, some are missionaries, and others. And just, good Bible teachers. Sean Cook, Ken Hay, Jeff Redlin. Let me see if I'm keeping it right here. 6. Frank Garlock, Joe Boker, Mike Patterson, Jim Ogle, Bob Bixby, and Ann Dreisbach. We had sort of a dual speaker situation there. Then Dale Cunningham, Ken Keltner, who, by the way, pray for his wife Kathy, who was there, very, very sick, and doing just, it's very rough what they're having to deal with her brain tumor. So pray for Ken and Kathy. Billy Patterson, Keith Fleming, Matt Collier, Matt Farinella, Mark Campbell, Derek Scudder. Last year was Rand Hummel, and this year John Lehman. So that's basically it. The Lehmans stayed over for a few days. We were able to go down and show them some sights in Madrid. We met our kin-laws, a new word I've learned here recently, David and Maribel, whose daughter married our son. And we had a lightning trip, 36 hours, but we had a blast there with the three couples. And so I may or may not add pictures onto the screen. I don't know how much editing I'm going to do. It'll depend on time and other things. So at the end, what I will do is tack on a couple of the video clips from the last day or so that I didn't do a summary of. So I'll throw those in. And I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Our next MTR, of course, will be next year, and our guest will be, for the first time, a repeat. Sean Cook, hopefully, Sean and Jill. And looking forward to them. They're wonderful friends, and will do a fantastic job. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, of course, you can write me, and you can watch the other things on the channel. And I think that's it. I've got my email up there, and I will wrap it up with that, and maybe a little bit of media tacked onto the back of this. Okay, God bless you. Thanks for watching. Take care.
I got it!
You're a genius! My boy, you're a genius!
I knew where it was!
Where was it?
It was in the carpet ball. Not carpet ball, the football table.
Alright, we have a winner.
And in a little while, Mimi will come back up with the klutes, and they'll wrap up final things.
Is he aware that there's one down on the ground?
I believe he is. He grabbed it. Yay!
Alright, let's get out of here before anything else comes down.